Are you really chasing success or just running from the fear of being called a failure? You wake up, you grind, you post. You tell yourself it's all for growth, ambition, freedom, but deep down, you're wondering if this is just performance, a show you put on so people don't question your worth. Swipe after swipe, you see it. The jet-setting entrepreneurs, the six-figure freelancers, the fitness moguls. Everyone's winning, everyone's glowing, everyone's succeeding. And you're just trying to keep up, smiling in meetings, hitting deadlines, staying productive. But at night, you're lying awake asking, why does all of this feel so empty? Modern society sold you a checklist. Hustle harder, build your brand, post your wins, stay grateful. But nobody talks about the burnout, the shame of falling behind. Even those who make it, who check every box, hit every goal, often whisper the same thing. I did everything right. So why do I still feel so lost? Because success today isn't about meaning. It's about metrics, likes, followers, title, income. We've turned a personal journey into a public scoreboard. And the prize? Not joy, just more anxiety, wrapped in applause. This isn't fulfillment, it's performance. And maybe, just maybe, that's the real reason so many of us feel like we're drowning while looking so damn successful. You were told the climb would be worth it, that once you reach the top, the job, the car, the lifestyle, you'd feel complete. But when you got there, all you found was more mountain, more pressure, more expectations, more you're not there yet. That's the trap of modern success. It's a cup with a hole in the bottom. No matter how much you pour in, money, praise, promotions, it never feels full because the system wasn't built to satisfy you. It was built to keep you chasing. You hit 6 figures? Now aim for 7. You bought a house? Time for a bigger one. You got fit? Now you need to look like a fitness influencer. The goalpost keeps moving, and you keep running, hoping that the next achievement will finally quiet that voice in your head. But here's the truth. That voice isn't ambition. It's insecurity, dressed up like motivation. You're not climbing toward peace. You're running from inadequacy. And the worst part? You didn't even choose this game. You were born into it, handed a scoreboard, taught to measure your life in likes, numbers, and hustle hours. This isn't a path to happiness. It's a prison with velvet walls, a loop of comparison, shame, and craving, disguised as drive. You know it. You felt it. That fleeting high after a win, followed by the sinking question, why doesn't it feel like enough? Because it never will, until you step off the treadmill and start redefining what success means to you. Once, success was measured by who you were, your character, your courage, your contribution. Now, it's measured by what you have, not who you've become, but what you can show. We used to ask, what kind of person do I want to be? Now we ask, what do I need to own to look successful? The car, the watch, the apartment with the right view. But these aren't just things anymore. They're costumes in the theater of status, props in a performance we didn't audition for, but were born into. Somewhere along the way, we stopped being and started having. It's what Eric Fromm warned us about decades ago, a shift from soul to spectacle, from meaning to metrics. And here's the dangerous part. When your identity is built on what you own, it can all disappear the moment you don't. Your value becomes fragile, conditional, borrowed from the opinions of others. We chase likes instead of legacy, followers instead of fulfillment. Even our dreams aren't really ours anymore. They're echoes of what society told us to want. The algorithm trained your ambition. The culture scripted your goals. And you've mistaken applause for alignment. That's not success. That's servitude dressed as aspiration. Because if you need others to approve your life, then you're not living your life. You're performing theirs. The suited man stops walking. He looks up at a billboard that reads, "Be more, own more." His expression changes. Realization. True success starts the moment you stop performing and start remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. There comes a moment when even the applause feels empty. You hit the milestones. You played the part. You wore the smile even when you were dying inside. And yet, something whispers, this isn't me. That's not failure. That's your real self trying to surface. The part of you buried beneath years of performance. Carl Jung called it the persona, the mask we wear to be accepted. But when success becomes tied to that mask, you start to disappear beneath it. Every compliment, it's not for you. It's for the version of you the world prefers. And the more you're praised for the mask, the harder it becomes to take it off. You're not tired because you're weak. You're tired because you've been performing for too long. Because chasing validation is like pouring water into a cup with no bottom. No matter how much you pour, it never fills. It just leaks out. And that ache you feel, that quiet, persistent unrest, It's your soul asking for honesty, not a bigger house, not more recognition, just the courage to finally be seen, not as a brand, not as a role, but as a human. The person removes their tie, stares into a mirror, and for the first time, sees something deeper in their own reflection. Ask yourself, is the success I'm chasing actually mine, or is it the mask I wear, hoping it'll finally make me feel like enough? Because real success begins the moment you stop performing and start returning to yourself. At first, it felt good, a little recognition, a little praise, but soon you needed more. Another milestone, another post, another round of validation, and slowly, without realizing, you went from living your life to performing it. You became the product. And the truth, you don't even know who you are anymore without the audience. Recognition became your drug, and success, a moving finish line, rigged to keep you running. Philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer called it the blind will, a compulsive hunger that never ends. It doesn't matter how much you feed it, it always wants more. That's the treadmill we're on, chasing approval and mistaking applause for peace. But what if the real power isn't in climbing higher? What if it's in stopping the climb, not quitting, awakening, not proving your worth, but finally seeing you never had to? Because if your success only exists in someone else's eyes, is it even yours? The man turns off his phone. Silence. He walks outside into nature. He breathes. You don't need to be more. You need to remember who you were before they told you you weren't enough. True success isn't the mountain. It's the moment you realize you don't have to climb it anymore. Not because you gave up, but because you finally woke up. That's the shift. A mask you wear to survive. A persona you built so well, even you started to believe it. But behind that mask is everything you've hidden. Carl Jung called it the shadow, not evil, just unseen. The parts of you you buried to be accepted. The truth you silenced to be celebrated. And here's the trap. You think you're chasing success, but what you're really running from is the fear of being unworthy. That's why it never ends. No amount of applause ever silences that whisper. Without this, who would I be? The man looks in a mirror. The reflection isn't smiling, it's tired. Ask yourself, are you building a life you believe in, or just outrunning fear? Are you doing it for you, or because you're terrified of what happens if you stop? What if stopping is the beginning? There was a man who walked away from everything. Career, status, recognition. They said he failed, but he started painting again. Not for likes, not for money, just to feel real. He didn't lose himself. He finally found himself. Take off the mask and remember who you were before the world told you to become someone else. A lone figure sits in silence. No phone, no noise, just stillness. Be honest. How much of your ambition is actually fear in disguise? Fear of being ordinary, fear of being forgotten, fear of not being enough. So you run, you build, you grind, you win, and somehow you still don't feel whole, because if your worth depends on achievement, then even in victory, you're still trapped. A prison with golden walls is still a prison. Glimpses of success, awards, applause, wealth dissolve into static. This system, it doesn't care if you burn out. So long as you keep producing, it will sell you the illusion and praise your hustle right up until you break. The figure stands in front of a mirror, not fixing, not posing, just looking, really looking. Sometimes the truth hurts before it sets you free. So don't scroll past this. Don't numb it away. Let it work on you. What if you've been enough this whole time? Not because of what you've done, but because of who you are when everything else is stripped away. Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. So look at the shadow, the fear, the lie that says you need to earn your value, and then let it go. The figure steps outside into morning light. No rush, no mask, just presence. You don't need to climb higher. You need to remember, you already matter. Now act like it.